Hello everyone and welcome to this quick introduction to the Filmworkz DVO plugins and how to use them in Scratch. So let's dive right into it, enter our project, and let's enter the first clip here. And down here in the lower left corner you have the plugins button. And if I click that, the plugin browser opens, and on the left side I can navigate to the DVO plugins here, and there we have all of the DVO plugins ready to be applied to our shot. What are those plugins? Well, Brickwall is a frequency cutoff plugin which helps to be applied to your image before you do, say, an H.264 encode, because it's these high frequencies that can cause artifacts during the encode or decode, so to speak. There's the DVO Chroma plugin, which takes care of chromatic aberrations. There's Clarity, which is a top-notch denoiser, which I'm going to show you in just a bit. There's DVO Pixel, which is dead pixel detection and correction. And Regrain RGB and Sharpen should be self-explanatory. Now, how do you add a plugin inside Scratch? Let me quickly cancel out of here and create a layer. If I first create a layer here on my shot, this is now layer 1, and with that selected, I go to plugins, I select, let's say, Sharpen, and here I can choose whether I want to apply it to the layer or on a node. What's the difference between the two? We'll get to that in a second. Let me first apply this to the layer. And as you now can see, layer 1 here that I had selected has the plugin on it. If we go to the Fill Mod menu, you can see here is the plugin in there, and here in the node menu, there we have the plugin controls. Now, if I have no layer in my layer stack, or if I select the primaries layer, which I can't insert a plugin on, and then go to plugins, select the Sharpen plugin and hit apply on layer, then Scratch will automatically create a layer for that plugin. And of course I can just rename that layer and make it look nice. Okay, so the alternative to that is recommended whenever you're using a plugin that has temporal filtering. What is temporal filtering? Well, as the name suggests, it's filtering over time. So in order to calculate the effect on the current frame, the plugin has to consider frames before and after the current frame. And temporal filtering is the case with, for example, Clarity, denoising, and DVO Pixel, dead pixel detection and correction. So let's move to the next shot, this one, because it's an especially grainy shot. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, and now go to plugins and add the Clarity plugin. Instead of on a layer, let's add it on the node. Now, we didn't see much happen, and to actually know what has happened, let's go over here and go to the node tree. Now down here you see our source shot, and that source shot actually can have a multitude of layers on it, and the output from this node is being fed into the DVO Clarity node here. And again, here you have your controls for the plugin node right here in this menu. And as a matter of fact, by default, DVO Clarity does a pretty decent job on removing the noise. Let's zoom in on this corner and take a look. If we now switch back and forth between the DVO node and the node before, you can see that's noticeable. However, just for demonstration's sake, we can crank up the processing amount, the aggressiveness, and also set the whole thing to quality. And if we now switch back and forth, you can see how the noise is really noticeably reduced, but still all the image details are kept. Alright, now for the last way to insert plugins, because right now we're only inserting plugins on any given shot. If we want to apply a plugin to our whole timeline, we would go to the Render tab, and in here we have our main output node, and this is basically our timeline, or our timeline node if you want. If we double click that, we will find ourselves back in ColorFix, but as you can see, the mini timeline now has a yellowish tone to it. So any adjustment, any gray that we apply here will be applied to the whole timeline and all clips inside that timeline. Now, for instance, if we wanted to export an H.264 and take care of sharp frequencies using DVO Brickwall, we would again go to the plugin menu, choose Brickwall, and now it actually doesn't matter whether we apply it on a layer or on a node technically, but if we apply it on a node, see what happens. So now we again have the plugin controls here to take care of sharp frequencies, but if I now go back to the Render tab, I can see that the DVO Brickwall plugin has been added as a node right behind the main output node. And in here, if I go to the Format Settings tab, I have the known plugin controls right here. However, if I want to dial in the parameters whilst actually looking at an image, I just have to double click the node and I'm here in ColorFX with that node. Okay, and once we've dialed in our cutoff frequencies and everything and are happy with the result, we can go to the Render tab and add our H.264 encoder right behind with the H.264 settings here, or alternatively add a ProRes encoder and dial in the settings here. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. If you're interested in the DVO plugins, check them out on filmworkz.com. See you next time. Bye.